let's travel back to a different universe. The DC animated universe, to be exact. Also known as both the Diniverse and the Timverse, named after Paul Dini and Bruce Timm respectively. Now, why go here, and why now? Well, with the status of certain DC films not being clear on whether or not they take place in the main DCEU continuity, I felt the need to re-examine a previous solution for managing multiple DC properties. What solution is that? Is it any good? And does it have a place today with the DCEU? Well, let's just find out. Because today, Dave knows the BAT-EMBARGO. The BAT-EMBARGO is a name that was given to the practice of restricting the use of certain DC characters across different forms of DC media. For example, if Robin was starring in the Teen Titans cartoon, then he could not also appear in the cartoon The Batman at the same time. This was a self-regulated mandate that came down from DC itself, which seems kind of weird considering how hard Marvel has been working in order to get all of their own characters, such as Spider-Man and the X-Men, into the MCU. So with Marvel having their own characters scattered due to legal reasons, why would DC Comics divide its own house if they didn't have to? It's been reported that this was the brainchild of former DC Comics president Paul Levitz, who thought that it might confuse children to see the same character in 2 or more different properties and portrayed in different ways. So, in order to dumb things down for children, the BAT-EMBARGO was enacted. Now, this line of thinking flies in the face of many who grew up understanding that different properties mean different interpretations. I myself as a child had no problem understanding that Splinter was a human who turned into a rat in the Ninja Turtles cartoon, but he was always a rat in the Ninja Turtles movie. That being said, DC Comics went ahead with not giving children enough credit and started vaguely compartmentalizing their own characters across multiple properties. The biggest victim of this particular usage restriction was the series Justice League Unlimited, which was the final entry of the popular DC animated universe, which began with the Batman animated series in 1992. Justice League Unlimited had its run alongside other DC animated programs such as Teen Titans and The Batman, not to mention also running while Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins debuted in theaters. And as you can see, with these particular titles, Batman-related characters were the most affected, hence the name The BAT-EMBARGO. But despite already featuring numerous characters very early on in the DCAU's run and airing alongside both the Tim Burton Batman films and the Nolan Batman films, the BAT-EMBARGO stopped many of these already established characters from further appearing in the Justice League animated series. For example, as previously mentioned, Robin could not be used in the show The Batman until after the Teen Titans series ended. But furthermore, the character of Dick Grayson, even as Nightwing, was not allowed to be prominently featured in the Justice League animated version either, although he did make a brief cameo in silhouette in the episode Grudge Match. Barbara Gordon was also supposed to be in the Justice League episode Double Date, where she would get injured on a mission and then take on the mantle of Oracle. And Batman Begins also kept Ra's al Ghul away from being in any later episodes of the DCAU. But now, as much as all of that sucked, at least it makes some semblance of sense. But don't worry, because this is where things begin to get a little weird. For starters, let's just look at Hugo Strange, because even though he already appeared in the JLU episode Doomsday Sanction, Hugo Strange was not allowed to appear in the episode Question Authority and was instead replaced by Dr. Moon. This was done because Hugo Strange was a big part of the show The Batman. The BAT-EMBARGO also prevented the use of Scarecrow and the Riddler from being in the Legion of Doom during JLU's final season, because Scarecrow was in Batman Begins and the Riddler was also featured in The Batman. But the odd thing was that this was a little bit of history repeating, because both of these characters were in the original Legion of Doom in the show Challenge of the Super Friends, which prevented them from appearing in the New Adventures of Batman series by Filmation. Also, the show entitled The Batman prevented other major Bat villains like Penguin and the Joker from making further appearances in Justice League. The Joker was supposed to have a great cameo in the episode This Little Piggy, where he and his goons would have set up the perfect trap to finally get Batman, and just as he was ready to spring it, he would see Batman running right past him, not even noticing, while holding Wonder Woman, who had been turned into a pig, and telling her that everything will be okay. Then after the Joker sees this, he would just give up and tell everyone, "That's it, pack it in, we're going home." But because of the BAT-EMBARGO, this hilarious cameo was not allowed to be in the episode. Also, oddly enough, the embargo restricted characters like Harley Quinn and Renee Montoya, who were created in the DCAU, from appearing in the DCAU. Although it should be noted that this was not a unique concept for DC Comics and wasn't restricted to only Batman-related characters. For example, after his appearances in Smallville, Aquaman had very limited ability for the Justice League cartoon. And it has also been suspected that Wonder Woman and her related characters had some restrictions placed on them, possibly because of a proposed Joss Whedon Wonder Woman project that never came into fruition. Now, the biggest question mark here for many is, what's with the radical inconsistencies with the BAT embargo or any other similar character restrictions? For example, how come Dick Grayson can't show up across multiple properties, but Superman and Lex Luthor could both appear in Smallville and in Justice League at the same time? And it's even stranger when you remember that the actor Michael Rosenbaum played two completely different characters in two completely different DC properties, Lex Luthor in Smallville and The Flash in the DCAU. But yet, this wasn't seen as confusing. But let's also remember that the character of Batman himself could be featured in The Batman, Batman Begins, and Justice League. That's three different properties, but yet Robin couldn't be used in more than one thing? Really doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense here. Sadly though, this practice is not 100% done with yet, with the character of Deathstroke being off limits for the show Arrow due to his use in the DCEU. But yet, we can have both a Teen Titans Go cartoon and a Titans live action series going on simultaneously? Now, there are other examples of restrictions like these, but I think you get the point. Now, for me, I think comic book character embargoes, BAT or otherwise, are just stupid. They're insulting to children's intelligence, and they are wildly inconsistent, and they never serve any good whatsoever. Even if some people will be confused by seeing Jared Leto and Joaquin Phoenix both playing the Joker, I think having different versions of a character playing concurrently with each other allows for fans to compare aspects of them in better ways, and could also lead for creators behind one series to be inspired and take cues from another. But finally, let's not forget that with any DC property brought to either television or film, there will always be at least two different forms of the same character running alongside each other, the TV show or movie version and the comic books themselves. And so, if people can manage to sort things out with a minimum of at least two different versions at all times, I don't think having a few more is gonna hurt anyone. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on BAT embargoes and any other character restrictions? Let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to give this video a big like as well as subscribing right here to Dave Knows Comics. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, Dave knows.